Pavana Patra Hanumana ki Jai. Sitaram everybody, and welcome to the first night of our 3 nights of Ramayan Yagna. Last week we did our first installation. Because of the inauguration of the Sri Ram Janam Bhoomi Mandir in Ayodhya, India, happening on the 22nd of this month, January 2024, Global Diwali. This year, we are celebrating the return of Sri Ram. As this temple is going to be celebrated, his worship is going to be done in a grand way. Throughout the world, the message was sent that we should engage in yagya, celebration, teaching. On the night of the 22nd, people will be lighting their yard, their courtyard, their entrances, their property, as they symbolically welcome the Lord back into their home now. So, we at the Sri Krishna Seva Ashram here in South Trinidad, Princestown, Trinidad, West Indies. Last week we did Valmiki Ramayan, 3 sessions dedicated to the Katha of Jatayu and Sampati, coming from the side of knowledge, Gyan, knowledge, the sharing of the knowledge, so that the objective is, in this auspicious time where we are celebrating, throughout the world people are doing Sri Ram Puja, Yagya, Vrat, etc. We too should engage in his worship. But how do I worship? As I had said, our younger generation, with all the Google and all the different AI and all the different things, when we're supposed to be on a trajectory where we have more knowledge, it seems as if Ramayan is becoming more distant for the younger generation. For the older ones that know about Dharma, God, Ramayan, they would know the stories, they would know the different katha, which Khanda is that located in, etc. But when in conversation with young people, it seems, well, you know, the Bhagavad is really Ramayan. But I personally don't know it. I know the gist that, you know, Sita Mata is lost, there's a war, Sri Ram goes and beat. But to say the detail, and I made the reference that when I was younger, growing up with the elders at that time, you had to be knowledgeable, you had to know, because these were people that knew their prayer, knew their Dharma. Now, we already highlighted the fact that it is predicted that in Kali Yuga, we would see a shortened lifespan, the attention span starts to drop of the people, generally speaking. Of course, there are those that don't have those problems. And then you'll also see a decline in the interest for righteousness and goodness and good things. So the quality of satsang would drop. People would sit down and gossip and talk about their opinions and hearsay rather than listen to the authentic words of God. Now, in Garud Puran, we hear that the name of Vishnu burns away janam after janam of sin. Why do we listen to Ramayana, Gita, Bhagavad, whatsoever? Because just by listening according to the Katha, where, amongst other places, where Shabri is speaking to Sri Ram, they identify the different forms of devotion. So sometimes we think devotion could be only when I'm by the Bedi or the Havan doing puja physically. And whilst that is one form, it is not the only type or the only way I can do devotion. And they highlight Shravanam, or the act of Shravan is to listen, and Darshanam is to look, to witness, to see it. I want to see the Ganesh Murti being paraded on the street. I want to see when they're holding the book on their head and they're walking, just by looking at prayer. Our elders knew these things. They used to say things like, I'm going to, your family have prayers, I want to go and hear the prayers. Your family have so-and-so yagna or sanskar or something, I'm going to watch the prayers. I'm not doing anything. But by being in the crowd, these elders knew, based on katha like that, if I look at the prayer, the blessing is, the logic is, and for younger people listening to me, understand that I am giving a secret here, I guess, a known secret, so that you could know what to do too. Maybe because of my condition, I'm not fasting or whatever it is. Maybe because of technology today, I'm on the job, because I'm working shift, I'm on call, but I could still watch a YouTube video, pause it when you need to, come back to it, but I have the interest in the God. The focus is really that I want to learn something about my God. Imagine Shivratri is coming and I want to hear a yag before, learn something before Shivratri. Now Ratam is going on. I feel like this is a time I should be listening to Devi, but I'm always on call. I'm always at the job. I'm always in the police station and the army barrack, whatever it be. Okay, well, thank God we have this level of connectivity that wherever you are, even if you're living abroad and you're living in a place where there's no mandir or there's no support system for the Hindu, go on your online, subscribe to my channel, and you will be able to get satsang labeled and guiding you to different events. What is this? What is that? Why is this? Why is that? So with this age of technology, we embrace the technology. Please do not feel that the new way or the new method is bad. It's how you use anything. If I abuse aspirin, I could get damaged, I could get harmed, I could get sick. But if I take it according to the prescription, I could really get a lot of help. And in the same breath, if the person uses the technology for positive, to latch on to something good and godly, well, then it's serving a purpose. But when we get distracted and we go into other forms of interest for some people, it could take you down a road that may not lead to God. So what we did last week, we highlighted the teachings, but in a style that is unique to Hinduism. Sanatan Dharma says, because the audience is of a different background, different people, mixed homes, especially we're watching from home, but if you were in the temple here by me, you have 200 people sitting together, but these 200 people might be of different gender, sexuality, age, understanding, educational level. So different people would look at the one katha the Baba given, but a child might see, or something might jump out to a child in one way, and a grandfather based on experience in a different way. They might interpret it or apply it to their life in different ways. So by no means, if we strive to teach everybody in the same plane, you might hear me sounding like I'm talking to only old people. And talking to seniors who only know the bhajan to sing one way or in that way, or and isolate and alienate the younger head, or the opposite. I talk as if I'm teaching kindergarten school, where my focus is the children, but now it is as if I'm not giving anything to the elders. So why am I coming? Why am I listening? Why am I tuning in? So it's a very difficult thing to manage your audience. So the answer is, in our Dharma, you read what God said. You read verbatim from the book. You give the honest truth about what the text is, and allow the words of God, allow His story, His teaching to be the teacher, just be the vessel. When we pollute what is in the text with our opinions as pundits, when we put our interpretation and we try to wash down the katha, what you are doing is, by and large, you are robbing the person of the truth. The truth is what will give the person the blessing. They're doing the yag, they're doing the satsang for a reason. Yes, we celebrate anniversary and birthday, but what you haven't said is, I'm doing it to get the blessing of having done it. I want to see change in my life. Things are going good. I want to see it keep going good. When I encourage other people to come and sit down and together, they are listening to the word of God. This morning, if you're watching me, or tonight, if you're watching me, and you're seeing different sponsors or people supporting our programs, they're doing it because in a different way, they want to encourage more and more people to hear the katha, to hear who? Sri Ram name, Sri Ram form, in this case where we're talking Ramayan, Sri Ram form, his pastime, those things, by listening to it, by watching the television, by watching your phone or your device, it brings about blessings. It brings about change or maintenance of peacefulness. I have a lot of unrest in my family. I have legal matters pending. I have fear, just fear, phobias. If I see dark, I get frightened. I feel like I can't drive the car. If somebody is driving and they drive reckless, I get panicky. Different things happen to different people. So you know what, dear God, I would like to sit in my home. I would like to sit in the job. Maybe I'm in school and I just want to listen to your katha because right now I need some help. So the person who is filled in the moment of fear or fright or, different things are happening, this is to supply there's a demand for God's help, and this is to fill that need, that niche market, that there are people who need prayers at different points in their life at different time. And when the person now gets the word from our text, in this case Ramayan, and your karma puts your intellect and your ability to concentrate, you could see Sri Ram right where you are. Here, maybe for the child who is listening, here at this level, they could grow just by what? the karma allows you to want to hear the katha, me really understand what Baba talking about. You know what, I'll text him on WhatsApp and I'll ask him a question. Or you know what, maybe if I listen to it tomorrow night, I go learn something again. Wow, I never hear that. And today is a katha like that. Today is a wonderful discourse like that. Today I want to spend some time reading the Bengali Ramayan, something called Krittibasi Ramayan. And we'll spend some time learning and listening and engaging simple discourse, nothing hard. Like last week we learned about Jatayu. That was like a refresher for the person who is more versed in Ramayan. What did Jatayu do? And then we went on to Sampati, but we were reading from Valmiki Ramayan because there were some details there that are not in Tulsidas Ramayan. If I am doing my part, reading in a particular way so that it benefits the viewing public, then your part is sitting where you are, because I can't see you, I can't judge you. You need to sit down and say, praise dear God, I don't know much about this Ramayan. I don't know the book, the physical, I don't know much of it. But could you bless me with the intellect and the listening ability to focus? Just don't drift, don't get distracted, just to learn something. And then remember, dear God, with your blessing, I could do it. If you allow it to remain inside of me, I appreciate that. So last week, our Yagya, I know I spoke about Bandhu Charanaka Malaragunandan, and I involved it in our discourse so that you recognize the song, the meaning most important, and what is it trying to impress upon the person. Today now, we're going to continue in that trend, but we're touching on different Ramayan. Today I'm not reading Valmiki's Ramayan, I'm reading something called Krittibasi Ramayan. So in our introduction of the discourse, allow me to give you a little backstory about the history of what it is and the uniqueness of this text. And then we'll go into what today. Today I want to do a little bit, for this Yagya, a little bit about Raja Dashrath. There's so much that we don't know, and it is so interesting, as you will hear today, how much more information there is. Tomorrow night, I would like to do something like the Sarwan Kumar discourse. Is a wonderful discourse, but people sent me messages this week and they were asking, where is this Sarwan Kumar discourse? I've never heard it, or I've never read it in my copy of the Tulsidas or the Tulsi Krit Ramayan. I've never come across it. So to introduce that, and then at the end, in the last night, or ending of Raja Dashrath, and what happened there and there on according to different Ramayan. So in it, the intention, the objective is to facilitate the sharing of knowledge, and in it, give you, a kind of feeling, I didn't know that. A kind of interest, to tweak your interest. Understand my objective. This is a very convenient and easy and nice method so that you can learn about your God as we're getting ready to celebrate this Diwali, as I said, on the 22nd of January, so that you could understand your God. Imagine that, understand your God a little better. Now, I want you to work with me. I want you to bear in mind at the end of our satsang, if you knew what I'm about to tell you. Just that. All right? So, again, if you're now joining, welcome to our satsang. This is our second 3 nights. Last week was one, dealing with Jatayu and Sampati. This week, we're focusing on Raja Dashrath. And I'm promising that you will hear some things that you did not know. But you need to, nonetheless, as you will hear. And then we have one more to do, and that will be from, next week. If you're viewing me on Facebook, please like, share the satsang, leave me a comment, let me know who you are, where you're from, where you're viewing. If you're on the WhatsApp group, join our WhatsApp, join the Ashram's group. Then if you're viewing me on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, we need your support. If you're looking at me on Sankhya, Sitaram, everybody, please send Sankhya your good wishes and messages. Are you enjoying your satsang? Please let them know. They always tell me your messages, and I look forward to that. God bless all sponsors and all supporters of this station that allow us to be able to enjoy our dharma wherever we may be. We could turn on to Sankhya and we could still get Hindu and satsang and different programming, different teachings, different pundits, not only from one group but across the board. So you get different trends of thought, schools of thought. So you as the person, the viewer in public, you get to grow. You get to, I didn't know that. I'd never heard this before. This is why it is do that. This is how it is do it. And the end point is, because of this medium of television, younger people, maybe in a cartoon form, maybe in a play, you all know I love to do my plays. It is different, I agree. It is different. But the logic is a teaching method that catches the attention of the viewing public. I never see a pundit acting a play before. But at the end of the day, the message is hitting home. If you look at it, we are just incorporating different techniques to help you help yourself. Help you listen, learn, remember. Help you absorb something so that you could apply it thereafter. But if you don't have the knowledge, then the wisdom, meaning the use of the knowledge, applying the knowledge into your day-to-day life when trouble comes, that can't happen. Otherwise, what you're going to be trying to apply is where you don't know. So the person now cannot help themselves. This morning, as we get into it, where you're watching me from, it could be night. Sitaram, good morning, good night. Put your hands together. Close your eyes. And as we are about to start, slow your breathing. Just between me and you, let me do it the right way. This is your moment, this is your satsang. And if we are hustling and if we are bustling, it may not give you the outcome you're looking for. We must calm down. We must tend to try to hope to focus a little bit. Control the mind. Control the mind. Various texts tell us. And let's ask permission to do his worship this morning. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadi Sevitam Kapeta Jambu Palachara Bhakshritam Umasutam Sho Kavinashkarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvarta Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Let's pray from Tulsidas Ramayan. I'm reading from Doha 185, Chaupai 1. Jai Jai Suranayaka Janasukadayaka Prantapala Bhagavanta Godwij Hitakari Jai Anusari Sindhu Sutapriya Kanta Palana Surar Dharani Avadut Karani Maram Na Jai Koai Jo Sahaj Kripala Dina Dayala Karu Anugra Soi. Glory, glory to you, O Prabhu. This is in Balkane, by the way. O Lord of all the devatas, O delight of all your devotees, O protector of the person who is praying, O benefactor, protector of all cows and all praying people, O slayer of all the demons and demonic people, O consort of that one who is Lakshmi, the goddess that comes from the ocean. I bow to you, I bow to your glory. O guardian of all the devatas, I seek your mystery to be unraveled, to be revealed to me. The secret that is not known by many, allow that secret to be known to me. Let he who is benevolent by his nature and he who is compassionate and he is humble, allow his grace to be upon me. Glory and glory, more glory to that Lord Sri Ram, the bestower of salvation and love, who resides in all heart, who is the supreme bliss personified, who is omnipresent, unknowable, and supersensuous, whose acts are holy and who is beyond the veil of Maya. Jai Jai Avinashi, Sabagata Vasi, Vyapak Paramanandana, Abhigita Gotitam, Charita Punita Maya Rahita, Mukunda Shri Johi Lagi Viragi Ati Anuragi Vega Mohi Munivar Nisadana Basadya Mahi Guna Naga Gandhava Jayati Sachidananda Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama. He who brought forth the three forms of creation, the three levels, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic type, without anyone else to assist him. We know neither devotion nor worship, Prabhu. We, me and you, we don't know about those things. You who disperse the fear of death, you who give delight to the mind of all that call upon you, put an end to all my calamities. I want you to pray with me this morning, tonight. We beseech you to assist us in word, in deed, in any time. I need to be clever. When people are trying to outsmart me, bless me to be clever in my words, in my actions, to choose the right words, to choose the right way, reaction, action, etc. May you bestow your bliss upon me. Shri Siyapati Ramachandra ki Jai Sharanam. So again, Balkan, for those that are looking on and wish to read, go to Doha 185 in Balkan, Chowpai. Well, I read Chowpai 1 and 2, but it also goes on to 3 and 4. It's a wonderful prayer to be familiar with, children. Please do it and you'll have it. Now, some of these prayer that we are saying, do you know it? Do you know, have you heard these things? It is one of the things that are echoed as we are chanting different levels of prayer to Prabhu. The bhajans that are going to be played, popular bhajans, Ram bhajan, just like Ram Katha, dominated the Yagya circle and cycle throughout this country, this Caribbean, this hemisphere for a long time. Now, because of translation and availability, you're hearing about Skand Puran, Padma Puran, and different texts that give relevant information. But Ramayana was Mr. Ramayana for till now. But as I guess as culture goes and things are growing, Bhagavad Gita, Vidur Gita, different texts are becoming more and more prevalent. And our Ramayana are falling off, and this is my opinion based on my conversation, again with people local and abroad, from family to family. So sometimes imagine now, the bhajan played on the radio, whether this Diwali in January or the later, for example. And I want you to ask yourself where you're sitting, if you know the song. And I want you to tell me, in a comment, do you know the meaning? Like when the person's singing it. The intention of listening to a singer is to invoke. Why do we sing these bhajan and kirtan? Is to invoke. The message is a prayer. To invoke God and evoke within you, wake up something that causes this connection, this devotion, to remind you how to talk to Him. But because of language barriers, sometimes it's a tune. I know that tune. I like that tune. It makes me feel nice. I don't know what it means. I'm definitely not talking to God. So let's do a little test this morning. I'm going to just sing it. I'll explain it for you. But I want you to ask yourself, do you know what it means? When you're singing it or you're hearing it, what are you talking or thinking about? Payo ji maine Ram Ratan Dan payo. Payo ji maine Ram Ratan Dan payo. Vastu amulak diya mere Satguru. वस्तु अमूल्य दिया मेरे सतगुरु कृपा करो आप आयो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो. So here the meaning now. O bestower of a priceless gift, the most priceless gift, Prabhu Shri Ram, grant unto me your favor, your grace, bestow upon me wisdom. That type of wisdom that is very full, very rich. The analogy is painting the picture that I am asking for a gem. And this gem, well, some people might say, is jewel and gold. The priceless gem that I am asking you to bestow upon me is your grace. जन्म जन्म के पूंजी पाई जग में सब ही का वायो पायो जी मैंने राम रतन दान पायो. Oh Lord, grant me the wealth, look at again the analogy, wealth, money, gem. But what's the wealth? The wealth of knowledge from this life to the next life. Don't only give me the wealth, make everybody wise. Allow everybody to act accordingly, to do their diligence and their duty. Act wisely. Karche na kute, chora na lute, din din barahat sawayo payo ji maine Ram ratan dan payo. Prabhu, why am I asking for that gem to be the wisdom? This verse, wisdom cannot be stolen, nor cannot be taken away like a flimsy gem. I could put on jewelry and somebody could snatch it and take it, and when it's stolen, it's gone. It's never mine again, never to be seen again. But wisdom cannot be stolen, it cannot be taken, for it grows within the individual day by day. Give me that gem. Give me that priceless gem that only you could give me. Payo ji maine Ram ratan dan payo, payo ji maine Ram ratan dan payo. There are other verses listed. Siyapati Ramachandra ki jai. This morning, if we look at Tulsidas Ramayan, I'm on Doha 187 Balkan. This is Chaupai 4. Avadapuri Ragukul Mirau Veda Bhinati Tehi Dashrath Nau Dharma Dharang Dhara No Nanidhi Jnani Hridaya Bhagati Mati Sarangat Pani. Siyapati Ramachandra ki jai. In the city of Ayodhya, there ruled a king who was the jewel of the Raghu dynasty, the Raghu Kul. Have you ever wondered who is Raghu? Different question. He was called Dashrath, a name which was very familiar in the Ved. He was the champion of virtue, a repository of good qualities, a man of what? Wisdom. He was sincere, a sincere devotee of Lord Vishnu, the wielder of the Sharanga bow, and his mind was always on him. More or less, that one chaupai is the introduction for Dashrath. And as we are learning about the next Doha 188, is the introduction to Kaushalya. Kaushalya, one of his consort, a humble and devoted lady, had a strong attachment to the feet of Sri Hari Vishnu. And that's it. That is what we know. Tulsidas Ramayan does this introduction. Check your knowledge. We know that Dashrath at a minimum has 3 wives. We know that one day they do a puja, simple language, they do a puja, things happen in the puja, some sweet rice is made, charu, and babies are coming day after, and we know Ramayan evolves. But have you ever wondered about who Dashrath is? When they say Raghukul, who is Raghu? Who is his, where does his background lie? What is that about? This morning, I want to, as we heard, Payoji Maine, give me the jewel of wisdom. Wisdom is by definition where you take the knowledge you have. We call Ganesh Baba is the dispenser of wisdom. Saraswati is the dispenser of knowledge. What's the difference? To be clear, knowledge is the step 1 if you're making the cake, weigh out the flour. Step 2, sift the flour. Step 3, put in pumpkin. Step 4, add water to the pumpkin. How to do, let me just say, how to make the cake. All right. Knowledge, the recipe, right? Knowledge, step 1, step 2, so on. Wisdom is, in the recipe that I got from the cookbook, it says use egg or use something that I may not want to eat. Maybe I'm allergic to it. Maybe I cannot afford it, whatever. Wisdom is, in this analogy, in this example, if I don't want to use egg, maybe I could use something else. Maybe I could manipulate this situation to solve the problem. Maybe I could take the prayers, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Trayambakam, and use it. Use it when there's a problem. Somebody's sick. You know what? I went to Yagna and I saw somebody preach about using Trayambakam Mrityunjay mantra. I'll use that mantra. So now you're using the knowledge that you have attained. Use the knowledge, and that is becoming wise. But how do I, Payoji Maine, Prabhu, give me the gem of wisdom, if I do not have knowledge? If I don't know, if I just don't know about this Ramayan. Satsang is when you are sitting with the Brahmanas, with the gurus, with saintly people. People that will not encourage you in gossip. People that will laugh and talk, but at teaching moments instill virtue, instill upward thinking, positive, to strain you, to stretch you. Not tell you, okay, well, this is what you could do that. Only do shortcut, only take rest, only do nothing, to practice inertia. You're a Hindu, but don't fast, don't pray. Then you are not seeing growth. But the teacher now, his job is to see you here, but raise you up. After every year, I just always tell my godchildren, if after a year you learn nothing and you're coming around me, then I am wasting time. Then I am failing. Because as a teacher, my job is to make sure you grow. You grow every time. I didn't know that, but I know it now. I didn't know that, but I know it now. And you're growing not only in knowledge, but you're growing in humility. And that humility is also a very important ingredient in the pot of wisdom. Because sometimes people read things or they hear things and they want to use it for nefarious reasons, to kill that man. You see, my neighbor had the best pink curtain. Lord Shiva destroyed them and burn away that curtain, so I alone could have a nice curtain. That could also be a prayer too, if you consider it. My intention is to give you the knowledge about our Ramayan. To fill some gaps this morning, we have turned to the Krittibasi Ramayan. The Krittibasi Ramayan is penned in the 15th century AD, by a Muni by the name of Krittibasi Oja. He wrote this originally in the Bengali language. This is the Bengali Ramayan. In this text, it is unique because it takes from the Valmiki Ramayan, and there was an intermediary Ramayan, and he takes that and he writes his text. In this, you will hear reference to the daughter of Sri Ram. In Valmiki Ramayan, it is said in the beginning that, for example, we know about the Putrishti Yagya that Dashrath does in order to get the sweet rice I mentioned before, that the different queens would eat the same sweet rice that goes to the bird snatches a bit and Hanuman Baba is coming. That same Pandit that did depress Shringi Rishi, Valmiki Ramayana starts off where Shringi Rishi is married to the daughter of Dashrath. So it is not, and you will see that in Tulsidas Ramayana, you will see it in different places. It is not as we are taught. Dashrath could not have children. He could not have sons. At a time when politics dictated you needed a strong ruler. In our discourse today, we'll talk about that. Because you have to put it in the context of the time these things are happening in. This did not happen in Dwapar. This did not happen in Kali Yuga. This happened all the way back in Treta Yuga. This is before Krishna. This is years. This is a lot of years. And for political stability, there was not a leader of state that was a female. There was not a person who, like, even in Gita time, an exception is made where the king is blind, but it is said that they would not have put him in the first place because he was blind. Because now it looks as if he is specially able. And with that specially abled person, he's weak. He's not as robust as, let's say, compare him to Khanda or somebody who is, violent, and you need to free them. You need to respect them. From that side, this is at a time when a female was looked at as the weaker sex and was incapable of running a country. So Dashrath does have a daughter. In Krittibasi Ramayan, you will hear of her as Himlata, or Hemalata, but Himlata. So when somebody's name, like somebody has the name Hemlata, who is Hemlata? Or Hema for short, because they use the Hema, Hemavati, etc. But the Hemlata is really the name, the southern version, India, the southern version of the daughter or the big sister of Sri Ram. In Valmiki Ramayana, they call her Shanta. Shanta Dashrath marries her to Shringi Rishi, and he asks now his son-in-law to come and do this puja so that he would get his sons. That is what we know. Krittibasi is a Ramayana that talks about the daughter of Dashrath. They mention, for example, when Bali is killed, where Tara, his wife, puts a shrap on Sri Ram. Last week we did Sampati, and Sampati's son, Suparshwa, is mentioned. And there are other katha that is mentioned in this Ramayana that is not highlighted in Tulsidas or any of the other Ramayana that exists. For example, in this Ramayana, one of the things that always puzzled me was, who is the boatman? How is it that he's so lucky? If you remember, he washes the foot of Sri Ram, Tulsidas Ramayana, and other places. He washes the foot. Dear God, I heard, and this is coming from where Ahilya is the stone, and when he touched the stone come back to life. He says, I heard when your feet, the dust from your feet, when it touch something inanimate, become animate, so I need to wash your foot. In Krittibasi Ramayan, it is said that that guha, or that boatman, was truly the son of Vashish Muni in this form that is now gaining the darshan of the Lord. It's a wonderful discourse because it explains why is he so lucky to get to meet Sri Ram. Another day I'll do that discourse for you. How, for example, another episode, how did Hanuman know that if he tore open his chest, think about yourself, how would you know what it have inside of you? There's an explanation for how Ram, Sita, Lakshman is standing inside Hanuman, and he has the confidence of all things. I mean, you could have ripped your arm, you could have ripped your leg if you want to damage yourself. Why was he so confident that he knew something was there? It seems as if there's a missing story, and there is, and it's listed here. This text is very old, and even till today, in the Bengal region of India, people use this text. Something that is unique, however, to this text is the Adi Kand. In all Ramayana, there are different Kand, Uttar Kand, Lanka Kand, Kishkinda Kand. This has Adi Kand. Adi Kand has backstories, and this is where we're entering today. In Adi Kand, in our discourse, it talks about who was the Aja. Aja. What is Aja, everybody? For the kindergarten and the young children, your father's father, of the Raja Dashrath. Now, we are going to go into the backstory of Raja Dashrath for today's discourse. For this installation of our Yagya, and we are going to the making of Dashrath. Let's call it that, the making of Dashrath, of who he is. And as we enter into chapter Adikan, chapter 22, at the end of 21, the king of Ayodhya at that time, given the title Chakravarti, or great king, like an emperor, king of kings, was Raja Dilip. Dilip had a son by the name of Raja Raghu. Raghukul, right? Raghu is the Aja father is Dilip. These names exist because when they are doing Tarpan, it had to be listed. Raghu is the grandfather of Raja Dashrath. And for 10,000 years, Raghu ruled this kingdom. At one point, Raghu has a son. The father of Raja Dashrath, his name is Aj. There is a discourse where Sita Mata is feeding. You know, somebody asked me once, why when we are finished with our the 13-day ceremony, or if you do it on the 12th day, the 11th-day ceremony, we have a tradition, I guess even the 10-day ceremony, we have a tradition of taking out food for the Brahman or the Purohit that does the worship. Where did that start? Because that is not in Garud Puran. And you see it on the 10th day, or the Dashgath in particular, where you feed the Mahapat and you're asking the Mahabrahman to eat something so that sustenance and blessing flow to the person that has passed away. Because now the 10th Pinda, when the first 8 is offered after the funeral day being one, when the 9th and 10th Pinda is offered, as per Garud Puran Pret Manjali, hunger and thirst is given to the unrested soul. So they offer food, not only in the puja, but for the person to eat. And then you see it in different, why do we do that? And in Tulsidas Ramayan, in other places, I believe in Valmiki, definitely, there's a episode where some Munis had reached where Sri Rama and Sita Mata were living in the forest. And they both decided to take out food for them. But when Sita Mata presented herself, she's up, you could imagine, bowl in hand and ready to take out whatever for the main Pandit. She felt ashamed and she rested on the bowl and into the bushes or something, whatever was in the vicinity. After Sri Ram continued, did not stop, no argument or anything like that. And as per text, after feeding them and wishing them well and seeing them off, he says, Devi, but you abandoned me. Why did you do that? And she says, seated on the right-hand side of that Pandit, the main one, I saw my father-in-law. Sitting on the left-hand side, I saw an older gentleman with a big regal beard. Based on the description at that time, Sri Ram says, oh, that is my father, right? But the other person, that's my Aja, that is Aj. Sita never saw Aj, and I'll explain why today. So, it is one of the reasons, this is just a reference, but one of the reasons you have this practice of feeding the Brahman, because it is believed that the unrested soul superimposes or sits on the Pandit, and when you offer the person the food and they take out the food and you're trying to please, and this is why we just be doing the fanning business and all these different things, the soul, not only dear God, I get blessing for feeding these people, but the soul sits there and you want Baba, make sure and eat something before you leave. And this is why. Aj became the young son of Raghu, and Raghu saw the traits, not only physical marks on his body, but the traits of a good leader. And at a young age, Raghu gives the kingship of Ayodhya to Aj when he was youthful. But Raghu decides, after 10,000 years, he's ruling for some time, he wants to go to heaven. And he had the ability, because of the great amount of dan and the charity and the different type of yagya at that time. This is the ending of Satyug coming into Treta Yuga. He had the ability to live for long expanse of time. To me and you, it would sound strange, but to me and you at the same time, if somebody says, I could live to 100, my grandfather lived to 105, that might sound strange too, in all fairness. Don't be so quick to judge what the book is saying that is impossible. It is impossible in our time for some people to live to see pension, 65, to have a good quality of life and still be 95, to be so strong and living and going well. That seems as that was then in our ancestors. This is simply saying further back it was longer. When he became king, he was very loving as he was growing into the kingship. And he was very loving not only in his duty, but to the people. There was a king by the name of Mathur, and this Mathur had a daughter by the name of Indumati. The father, knowing that it was time coming closer and closer to get Indumati married, he arranges a swayambar for her. And all the princes and all the kings around were invited. Messengers were sent from near and far to go and get all the relevant, bachelors or people that were interested in getting married to Indumati. All the princes, everybody who here, they was coming to the kingdom of Mathur, and including Ayodhya Raj, Aj, the king of Ayodhya at that time, Aj came. And when he entered the city, it's described here, it was as if the lion was walking in amongst all the other forms of animals, meek and mild, when they saw him. This grandson of Dilip, Raghu, father was Dilip, then Raghu, now Aj, had the dynasty of this family in his blood. And he's well trained and he has good manners and he knew what was to be done and what was not to be done. He arrives at the Swayambar, or the great gathering where the groom is going to be selected. That is what Swayambar means. In order to avoid any conflict, Raja Mathur said, we have come here to select a groom for Indumati, and to prevent any conflict, she will choose, and wherever she puts a mala, that person is going to be my son-in-law, and everybody else will accept it, abide by it, and they will leave quietly. That's the rule. Everybody abided, and it was time, bring Indumati and allow her to choose. The rest of the princes should calmly, I'm emphasizing, calmly leave. Everybody sat down and waited. And she came out profusely decorated with gem and flowers, the pride of her father. Her hair was decorated with flowers and different colors. Her head was adorned with kumkum. And she appeared as if the moon had taken shape, human shape, personified, and walked amongst men. As she walked, her beautiful ankle made wonderful sound that every prince sitting in that audience did not jib from her vision as she walked in the turning. But nobody has time to cross-talk. They're so captivated. Her sculpted figure, she moved with her attendants and friends proudly. And Indumati, whilst doing it, she looked at all the princes, and slowly she was walking past some and some. And the prince, they say one of them fainted. When he get up, he asked him, who did she put the mala on? Whilst others thought, as she walked past them, you could imagine the disgust, the vex. Well, you leave me out. What ugliness have you seen in my face that you have left me in this pale of gloom? After passing some, they got angry. After passing some, others laughed at them. Like a poor man getting a fortune, she finds within herself now the type of person, whatever drove her to see Aj. She goes and she says, you will be my husband, and she puts the mala around the neck of Aj. And after garlanding Aj, Indumati went back to her palace as her father would continue. The rest of the kings felt very humiliated as they looked at his youth and how handsome he was, knowing the lineage and the glorious family army, all these things, quietly left. All of them hid themselves, however, in the forest, waiting for the Bharat and all the people that came at us. As they are going back, we are going to kill him, and we will be able to kidnap Indu, and we will make ourselves happy. Raja Mathur, on the other hand, he decided to keep them for a little while. He gave gifts to the son-in-law, Aj, different types of animals, chariots, weapons, gifts, all kind of things. For 3 days he kept them. And for those 3 days, those other princes waited in the forest. Thereafter, Aj decided to go back home to Ayodhya with his prize, Indumati, mounted on the chariot, followed by this huge contingent of army that some he come with, some now his father-in-law gave him, and he going back with more and more. The party reached to the forest where these people were hiding, and Indumati was watching over her husband whilst he slept, whilst all the guard and everybody. But when she saw the people started to come out in the bush, you could imagine, and Aj didn't get up, Indu starts to cry loudly to alert everybody of the danger, because from the time she starts to cry, everybody will take notice. And they did. When she started to cry, Aj gets up very perturbed. What's happening? What's going on? What's happening? And seeing her sadness, she points out and she shows to the husband all the different enemies, all the weapons, all the disgruntled looks, the threats. They are right there, hundreds of them lined off, waiting to destroy her husband. And he turns down, he smiles, and he says, "Be happy. What are you worried about? I will destroy all of them with one arrow. With one arrow. If I shoot a second arrow after the first one, my entire knowledge of archery would be for nothing. One arrow and I will destroy them. I'll show you this. This is between husband and wife. Nobody else is hearing this. You don't worry. Not one of my soldiers will be dead today. Not one of my soldiers will have to pull out his sword from by his waist. Nothing more than one arrow." The opposing side is very confused because they are only seeing Aj, nobody else. Aj takes out from his quiver something called a Gandharva arrow, and the young prince shoots the arrow. And with this arrow appears, it starts to split. Various Gandharvas appear on the scene, the heavenly singers and dancers. They come down, and that one arrow split into so many pieces, so many Gandharvas appeared, and they individually destroy all the princes and the army people, their soldiers, etc. From one arrow, the entire opposing side was destroyed in the twinkle of an eye. All of these Gandharvas pay homage and bow to Aj and Indumati, and they depart after saving their life. In due course, Indumati, after this, they go back to the city and they start to live. Indumati becomes pregnant. This child is born and his name is Dashrath. The virtues of Dashrath could not be defined in the house where he was born. As he was growing, the joy grew with him. As we enter into chapter 23 of Krittibasi Ramayan, when things are going good, trouble has come. When Raja Dashrath was 1 year old, the Mundan Sanskar was now done and he had shaved and all that. Aj and Indumati were looking. They had done the sanskar in a place called Kim Sukavan. And by this holy spot, they did the prayer. They remained after the prayer, and they were enjoying each other's company as a family, watching the little bald head and playing with him and so on. In the meantime, Narad Muni is flying high over the celestial garden, and he had this thing called Parijat flower, Parijat mala. You know, sometimes when we go to do satsang, and somebody give you a nice mala, but the place hot, this thing just make you feel so warm. So you might see the Baba take it off and he rest it on the harmonium, or in my case, on the text or something. And Narad Muni did the same. As he was traveling, he takes off the Parijat mala that somebody gave him, and he always has his veena right there. He hook it on the veena and he go in where he had to go. But whilst traveling, the mala accidentally fell and touched the body of the queen. With the touch of that flower, please remember the katha where we talked about the Parijat flower, powerful flower, most appropriate to offer to God. The Parijat flower does bloom in the Western Hemisphere. It does bloom in Trinidad. It does bloom in Princestown. When we had different Yagna, we gave it to people at the end of the Yagya. That is the tree that Krishna brings from when they churned the ocean. It came out, and Indra takes it and he goes to his Indralok and he puts it there. That's his. And Satyabhama wanted it, so Krishna goes and he takes it from Indra and he brings it onto the earth to please Satyabhama. Because of that, they spoke in that Padma Puran discourse about the value of these flowers and the benefit of the flowers and so on and so forth. This Parijat flower touches the queen. The queen, with that very touch of that mala, died instantaneously. Aj, full of grief, starts to bawl. You could imagine you now celebrate the baby is 1 year old, they're young. Based on the timeline description here, he got married young as per tradition. And now the girl, without warning, without sickness, without anything, dies. The king was full of grief and inconsolable, with streams of tears falling down his eyes. The king takes up the mala and puts it around his neck, and he too dies instantaneously. Attaining moksha, the both souls head immediately to Vishnu Lok. As a consequence of both king and queen giving up their human frame, celebrated as the soul was there, no suffering, they're going. Both king and queen left for heaven, but leave 1 year old Dashrath upon the earth. Sudden death of king and queen. Raja Dashrath is only a year old. Who is the foster? Listen to this. Who is the foster father of Dashrath? You're the Sanatanis. You know your Ramayana. You have to believe in your Ramayana. Think about the secret that is being unfolded here. Sage Vashisht accepts Dashrath as his child to hold him, keep him, grow him, teach him. And he took the child to his abode and imparted various types of knowledge in various types of art, literature, use of weapons, until such a time came for him to be crowned king of Ayodhya. When he was 5 years old, Dashrath became the king of Ayodhya. Parashuram, incarnation of Lord Vishnu, gives to Dashrath on the day he is coronated various type of weapons. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. As you continue in chapter 24, born in the solar dynasty, Dashrath was always virtuous and praised because amongst everything he was very fair and at instilling the right, instilling the dharma, instilling the good things. And for this reason, he is also called Chakravarti, like Raja Raghu, like Raja Dilip before his time, his ancestors. And he remained a bachelor until he was 30 years old, ruling and focusing on the admissions and the administration of Ayodhya until he's 30 years old. And as luck would have it, the king of Kosala had a daughter, and the daughter came to Ayodhya and found that Dashrath was still unmarried. The king found out that although he's 30, he never married nobody. That daughter is Kaushalya, and she was very beautiful, very young, and she heard of the king and she saw a pity of him. And she, within her heart, I guess between herself and God, she wanted him. So her father started to make arrangement for Kaushalya to marry to Dashrath. They called their priests, they did their checks, and everything seemed perfect. The Raja of Kosal sent message to Dashrath for him to come with the intention of these two getting married. Dashrath bowed in reverence to the messenger, being a Pandit, a Brahman. He accepts the the invitation. He says, if when you go to him, this is the coastal king, he has intention of getting you married to Kausalya. There is no other person that is more virtuous, beautiful, internally, externally, than you, O Raja Dashrath. May you please go. Receiving the message from the king, he called together his ministers and he told them, in my absence, you all look after the city. I am going. And he got into his chariot with a small contingent of forces and he went. And whilst there, walking in with drums and sunk and different type of, different instruments, it was like a barat in itself, as this huge procession walked into the city and arrived with full intention of getting married. The king accepted him, and things like Kanyadan, the chanting of the Mangal Chara, and the different things had to be done, were done. There was nothing in comparison to their marriage. Raja Dashrath returned home to his kingdom with Rani Kausalya. Now, Shri Bhadra Ramachandra ki Jai. Now, sometimes people talk about how Dashrath is able to get married to 3 people. I have heard that in, I believe it is the Vashisht Ramayan, that he is married to many more in trying to get children, well, sons, to carry on the kingdom. Let us spend a little time understanding, and I just want to introduce it tomorrow night. I'll explain it more again. There are 8 different types of wedding. Viva Sanskar. Brahma style, children are getting married. Kanya, Vardo, young children. And you're tying lines, you're doing Kanyadan, etc. As compared to the demonic type of wedding that entails kidnapping. There's a type of wedding where you're married in because you love the person. That is a style of wedding that is practiced very prevalently now. Kanyadan is not done because the people are sexually active. Maybe it's a divorcee that already had children, but you are not a Kanya. So there is a wedding that fits that type, that style of individual who's married in. How are they married in? Dictates to their history. In these times, one way of securing peace politically, when a person conquers an area, you will take a bride from that area. And because now we are binded, brother-in-law, father-in-law, son-in-law, so on, it would bring peace because now the queen of this area is part and parcel of the son-in-law's, area to govern. This is seen in the story of Dashrath. It is seen in the story of Krishna Bhagwan as well. So these different styles of marriage, and I'll go over it again, as I said, tomorrow night. But so far, we know about the Brahma style. That's the one where Kanyadan is being done, full, every step. And Gandharva is the one where there's love involved, maybe not Kanyadan, usually no Kanyadan. Maybe a divorcee is getting married. That is a difference, and we understand that. But further to that was getting married to somebody from a jurisdiction simply because they came from that area. And now, as you have conquered here, I would like you to get married to my child. You saw this when Jamwant, we spoke about Jamwant last week, and Jamwant, after fighting with Krishna for some days, and Vasudev had done his Naratam prayers for Krishna to come back. And when Krishna come back, he come back with Jamwanti. So there are different purposes behind this wedding. And as we go, we'll discuss it more. In chapter 25, Raja Dashrath has not gotten a son. So there is an invitation by Kaikaya, the king of a district, to come so that he could marry his daughter Kaikeyi to Raja Dashrath. And he arranged the marriage for his daughter, organized a swayambar in which many kings had come. Hearing of her beauty, Dashrath does attend. And he says, I am a resident of Giriraj. the king has prepared Swayambar for the marriage of his only daughter. Many kings will assemble, but on this occasion, dear king, we favor you and we would like you to come, most important, to see Kaikeyi. And may that princess choose you. May you be so lucky. When he went and he saw Kaikeyi, he thought it was an Apsara that is associated with Indra's court. Ramba, Urvasi, Tilotama, Vidyadhari. Is this some angelic individual upon the earth? In earlier times, we hear about Indumati marrying Aj and how they fell. Mathur had arranged that Swayambar, and this is the same thing happening all over again. When Aj thought Indumati was the most beautiful person on the earth, it was Dashrath who feels that Kaikeyi is the most beautiful, most elusive, attractive individual he had ever seen. And she comes and she garlands his neck, just as Indumati had garlanded Aj, Dashrath's father. The garland adorning the person of Dashrath had made the other kings shame. But this time, the other kings respected Dashrath because of how his prowess, his power, the size of his country, all these things. They accepted the loss to him that he got the prize of Kaikeyi. And Kaikeya, the father, performed Kanyadan, gave the daughter in hand to Dashrath, and he sent along Mantara and other attendants to help her secure her place and maintain all that she had to do. So she had these servants. Sometimes people want to know, well, who is Mantara and where did Mantara come from? Mantara comes from a very long relationship with Kaikeyi. She comes from her father's house rather than be appointed in Dashrath's domain. All these innumerable people came with gems and riches on behalf of Kaikeya, the father of Kaikeyi. Raja Dashrath then came back to his kingdom with Kaikeyi on a chariot, full speed. Prem Sabalo Mahapati Mahadeva ki Jai. And then came the third wife, Sumintra. Kaushalya and Kaikeyi were the two queens at one point of Dashrath. And while spending time with his two queens in the kingdom of Simhala, there was a king called Raja Sumitra, whose daughter was exceedingly beautiful. Realizing that his child was growing up and it would have been time, soon to get married, he starts to think about arranging a Swayambar to get her married. And this king, Sumitra, heard of the Chakravarti Raja Dashrath. All the Rakshas, all the Gandharvas are terrified. Just by hearing his name, they know him, they know of him, and they're inferior to him. So when he heard all these things, he starts calling his Brahman, and Sumitra sent word to Ayodhya inviting Dashrath to come. According to the wishes of the old king, the Brahman left for Ayodhya, and the son of Aj is invited by the same Brahman to come to Simhala. And when the king was invited as such, he went. The Brahman, before allowing Dashrath to leave, he says, there's a beautiful daughter there. She's the light of the kingdom. If she should come here into Ayodhya, she will bring brightness and light and happiness. And Dashrath heard that, and he wanted it. He wanted to go. So he reaches to the district of Simhala, and Raja Sumitra receives him with all pomp and celebration. And on hearing the charm and the beauty of the princess of Simhala, Sumintra, Dashrath was immensely pleased, and he told all those that are around him, caring for him, etc., that he would marry her. The king prepared himself after having that first conversation as if he wanted to go on a hunting expedition, and he ends up proceeding to Simhala without warning them that he would come back, Simhala people. Without telling them, I'm on my way, I'm coming, he just shows up. And the Raja of Simhala is very pleased to receive him, and they welcome him, observing the beauty of him for a second time. Now it is set to do. So they begin with, as per their tradition, of doing Nandi Mukshra. Nandi Mukshra is that type of shroud that we do till today before the wedding. That is where we are offering 3 pinda on your father's side, your mother's side. But these pinda, nobody has died. This is Shraddha where you're taking the pulp of different fruits. Let's say I blend in today's world, I blend grapes and apple and different things, and the skin is very gummy. And that stickiness sometimes encouraged with a little honey or molasses, that becomes the pinda, more or less. This is created and is offered with various mantras, different when somebody died. The mantras are different. Nandi Mukshad was completed. The ceremonies for the couples to join together as they faced each other on the altar. Flower petals laden the entire floor. And it was as if everybody wanted to just sit in one place and don't move to do anything. And in this way, they got married. Dashrath received great amount of gifts and dowry from his father-in-law, and he gave him anything he requested, anything he asked for. Was so happy. Both kings took leave of each other, and Dashrath then mounted his chariot with Sumintra, and Sumintra could not be faulted. As she filled the heart of Dashrath, her beauty was untold, without bound, without description. And in this way, with passion, he was very attracted to his wives. And he would go, because they got married in the morning. Now, this is a portion that is not written in Tulsidas Ramayan. Sumintra had fallen out of grace with Raja Dashrath. Raja Dashrath was trying to do anything and everything to get a son. And he was not, when you get, according to this area, their tradition was if you get married in the that night, you don't spend the night together. But she came and she touched him. Now, it is believed that when you do that, that inappropriate touch without the separation for a period of time after the sanskar is done, it robs you of not only your own life, but also the continuity that you are praying for. So Kausalya and Kaikeyi warned her. This is why he is moving apprehensive, and he had separated himself. But he was still intoxicated by the beauty of Sumintra. So he does go to her, and they did pray together for Shiva and Parvati to bless them, forgive them. And for many years, he spends time together with the three of them, trying to have or to grow their family. And he did, as a young man, enjoy the company of his wife, as only family life took his focus. And because of the mistake that was made by Sumintra, it is said that Dashrath had grown a higher affinity because of the touch and the kalratri. He does not stay with Sumintra, he does not stay with Kausalya, but he stays with Kaikeyi. He remains there. For these three, they are highly favored, because it was foretold by Narad Muni that Lord Vishnu would incarnate in their wombs. So, in this way, he did his best to maintain them, to give them happiness, to give them joy, etc. However, the city of Awadh, the kingdom of Awadh, Avadapuri Prabhu Nitya Vida, Awadh, where they lived, became overrun with the calamity of severe drought. It was found out that this is happening because Shani Dev is transitioning out of Taurus. Rohini constellation is passing, and anytime that happening, as he's told in his court, severe drought is going to happen. Prem Sabalo Mahapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Put your hands together. Let me introduce you to a prayer. This prayer, as part of your knowledge, is a Shani's prayer that was chanted by Dashrath. Raja Dashrath, based on where we are heading in our discourse, is one of the more popular prayer, this stotra, popular prayer of Shanidev. Till today, people use it. Hari Om Sura Kim Purush Rog Indra Gandharva Vidhadara Paganascha Pedayanti Sarva Visham Stitam Tasmai Namaha Nara Narindraha Pashyavo Mrigendra Vanasya Chaya Khit Patanga Bridanga Pedayanti Sarvesham Visham Sanstan Tasmai Namaha Om Deyascha Durgani Vanani Yatrasnena Niveshaha Pura Patani Nani Pedyanti Sarvesham Visham Sanstan Tasmai Aim Tilaid Vaishnaveshu Dandhena Loita Nil Ambara Danato Va Pranitir Mantra Need Nija Vasre Nachayas Namam Shri Prampring Prausa Shanishcharaya Nama Itani Dasanamani Pratar Uttaraya Pathe Shanishchar Kritapeda Me Kadachin Vishayate Shani, oh, you are the one who disciplines all with your yogic power. You are the best trainer of a person, meaning to say, Shani Dev, or the planet Saturn, is the son of Surya Narayan Swami, and he is given the job and the power to do his job. What is his job? Punish the person who has bad karma, give them hardship, give them difficulty. Why? Then as things start to happen to your body, you're going to run by Baba and you're going to learn some mantra and you're going to start to do prayers and change your ways. You are the highest trainer of all spiritualists, as if representing the disciplines of the higher nature. You are the person to keep for the running of this universe. Therefore, may you allow all that chant this prayer to be functioning. Allow them to expeditiously get through with their applications. On this day, I, Dashrath, rever you. I worship you with conviction and conduct. And may you not face any problem further. Vishnu Bhagwan ki Jai. So sometimes when I chant this stotra for people that are having problems, we're using the prayers like that to solve problems. Imagine somebody says, you know, I feel like I'm knocking my head on it, trying to pass this exam, I'm trying to, you know, get over the ACCA, I'm trying to get my customs license, I'm trying to get through with this bar license, are trying to achieve this thing. But Shani's Grav, Shani Dosh, says that he will bring despondency, delay on happiness, dejection, depression. If you were supposed to get through with something quick, he makes it feel as if you're never ending, you're lost in the paperwork. It gets so far for you to achieve your goal that you have to do all these different steps. And it feels like even when I reach to get it now, something must block me. Constantly feeling like I'm blocked. So when the person uses stotra like that, the question comes, where did Dashrath pray to Shani? Ask yourself. You're the Hindu, you're the Sanatanist. When did he do that? There is a stotra, we do use it. Somebody has Mangal Dosh. When they have Mangal Dosh problem, different planets, Mars Shani, is affecting their ability to get married. It is making it more detrimental. It is as if I try in a relationship and then stop, break up. Try in a relationship, somebody dies. Try in a relationship, wedding date set, somebody dies. So we have to put off the wedding and something is keep causing delay. So when you use in your prayer stotra like that, you allow Shani Dev to calm down and the situation can be resolved in an expeditious way. When Avad was suffering from the drought and Shani is the cause of this drought, Narad has to come to Ayodhya. And at a point in time when he is met by Dashrath, he says, O king, I have come to forewarn you, your entire country is without rain. Ayodhya is facing severe drought. What are you doing? You have not done anything to secure rain. The people are suffering badly and you have engaged, because you've engaged in a life of pleasure, that is all you're focusing on. People are suffering because of their misdeeds, yes. But you are responsible for them, so you have to do something to save them. Otherwise, lives are going to be lost. People for themselves are being blamed because Shani Dev, he's the adjudicator. He is dispensing, like a judge, dispensing punishment. Shani is in transit through Taurus. Therefore, when this is happening, rain is going to be very sparse. But may you please accept my advice and may you do something. May you do something so we can bring an end to this sufferation. Narad Muni is holding his veena in his hand and he's calling God's name. Excuse me. After his departure, the king became alert and mounted his chariot to find out more from the people themselves. If it's true, the aquatic animals, the bird, the people were all restless. Anywhere he went, he saw suffering. All the rivers, tanks, reservoirs in the forest dried up. In the evening, the king rested now after a whole day of going here and there and watching and paying attention. Now he's very alert that he is not doing his diligence. He is not doing his job. And because he fell asleep at the wheel, people have been suffering. At the dead of night, the king awoke to hear a pair of birds engaged in a conversation about the people. And the first one is saying to the second one, for a long time we have been staying in this forest. Nowadays we do not have enough to eat. We remain hungry. Under the rule of the kings of the solar dynasty, that's the family of Raja Dashrath, we never had trouble of shortage for food. But due to some reason, we have not been able to get water for 14 years. For 14 years. This 14 years is there. The king has stopped thinking about the welfare of the people and is always engaged in conjugal or married people, business, married people, pleasure with his wives. As he's only focused on that, let us leave this place. This place is like hell. And if we stay here, people are going to die. Birds, we are going to die. The king of the birds said, listen to my words. You say that we leave this forest. I have been residing in this forest since the advent of Satyug. And for my family, 50 generations of us as birds have lived here. Raja Dashrath is listening to this entire conversation quietly. It is not only we who are suffering, but the entire people are facing difficulties now. This trouble is also engaging the king himself. I was born here and I shall die here. The king is somewhere working on getting the spring fixed. Let us give him a chance. I shall not leave this place at your bidding. The female bird then spoke to the male. One would lose life in a kingdom of a sinful king. When you have a bloodthirsty or power-hungry leader, who is going to flourish? Only the leader and his near and dear. But everybody else suffers, they die. In today's world, when the leader does not have humility, when the leader is only arrogant, and he does not listen to the people, to their cry, to their needs, then there is going to be a disconnection, because it seems as if he is being advised by people from other countries, because you're not studying your country or your people happiness. When the king or the person is ruling in such a way that, you know what, I want power, but I'm going to make sure everybody's happy, then everybody's happy whilst this person is in charge. Without water, I am feeling very thirsty. My breathing is becoming very difficult. Let us fly to the seashore and drink some water dear self. This talk of the two birds was heard by Dashrath whilst he was lying under the tree in the dark. The king was reminded of the words of Narad, and he heard for himself what these birds were doing and how they were condemning him, calling him a sinner. Indra appeared very in the same spot, and the father, he had made an appearance to the grandfather of Dashrath, who was Raghu. And Dashrath remembers this. Dashrath goes to heaven in a huff, and he says to Indra, you promised that my city, to my grandfather Raghu, would never be allowed to go through drought, that the land of Ayodhya would always be flourishing and furnished with water. Why are you going back on your words? May you change this now. In this threat, he leaves and he comes back to where he was, and in the morning, the two parrots return. One of the parrots, that was the female, is Sarika. The husband, the male parrot, is saying to the female, you see what you say? Look at what your mouth open and say, and now look who lie down right there. And he had heard everything you said with his own ears. Dashrath is going to destroy us because of what we with our disrespectful mouth has said. Becoming very afraid, the king got up, did not pick up bow, did not pick up arrow. And he says, my dear friends, O female bird, I am not annoyed with you. I am grateful for the true words that you have pronounced. It was as if it was a caution to me. Thereafter the king placed them and told them, stay in this region of the forest. All the jackfruit. What is jackfruit? Kowa. All the mangoes grow here. Soon this drought will be finished. Dashrath goes back to Indra and he asks, why? Why have you forsaken and broken your promise? Why have you allowed this to happen? This activity must be stopped. Why is there no rain in my kingdom for 14 years? There is no production. The people are suffering. And they are insulting me and I am paying for it. Why is there no rain? If you do not tell me, I will take up all my weapons, all my might, and I will attack the heavenly regions, and you will feel the brunt of my rage. As all the devatas went there and they heard this conversation, here now, Indra shedding pride because he knew he couldn't face Dashrath. He says this is being done because of the movement of Saturn, Shani, in Taurus and Rohini constellation. There has been no rain in your country. In case you remove the Shani, the effect of Shani, then it will be possible for me to reign very easily over you and your city. Prem Sabalo Mahapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Shani Dev, he goes quickly to the house of Shani. And he looks at the king, and as he looked at him, the gaze of Shani, the chariot broke, the dodge, the flag on Dashrath's chariot, that broke. Everything starts to fall apart. And the funny thing is, there's nobody to assist the king. Because as he's moving in the air, see it in your mind? He's moving in the air, the chariot break off, the horse fall dead, and now Raja Dashrath is falling in the air. He's falling down. And it is at this time, the king of the birds, the vultures, Jatayu, saw. Remember in our discourse last week, Jatayu says, I am the friend of Dashrath. This is where it is listed. At that time, Jatayu, the king of the birds, saw the chariot falling, free falling in the air. And the bird thought that in case that chariot has to fall on the earth, the body of the king would be reduced to pieces. In this case, let me rescue him in his hour of trouble. Raja Dashrath thought to himself, I am falling. Who is going to help me? And whilst falling on the ground, he's feeling helpless. Jatayu spreads his wings and reaches there to hold on to him. And very easily, very comfortably puts him down. The driver drove away with the horses, what remain horses. The king asked whether Jatayu was the soul of his grandfather Raghu or his father that came to save him in the calamity. Who are you, my dear friend? Suddenly, Jatayu flying to come in front of him. I saw you falling on the earth, my friend. And to prevent your body from perishing, I was good enough to save you. I wanted to extend that good deed, that Seva to you. My name is Jatayu and I belong to the family, the species of birds. Sampati is my older brother. I am the nephew of Garud. My father is Aruna, the charioteer of the Surya Narayan Swami. I am the son of Garud, the nephew of Garud. And I fly by nature. I viewed your danger whilst trouble was over. And for this reason today, my friend, you are alive. In this way, your troubles are over. Dashrath said, you are my friend because you gave me a new lease. A new lease on life. Thereafter, he brought wood and they lit it in the presence of the fire. They made a vow that they would remain for life as friends. This is why when Jatayu hears that the son of Dashrath is coming, when he realized with the calling of Ram's name, and he knew Dashrath's son had this name Ram, when he hears Sita scream, he goes to help because of who he was. When they did this, Dashrath says, you are my friend because you gave me a new lease on life. Because you saved me, we will always be friends. The king of Ayodhya thus became friends with the king of the birds, and they separated. After taking leave of the king, the bird left for his abode as they remained separate. Shri Vishnu Bhagwan Ki Jai. Now this falling apart of the chariot has to do with the gaze of Shani. That is listed in different texts. But it comes from when all of them were in the house of Surya Narayana Swami and they were getting their individual blessings and what they're supposed to focus on. In chapter 27, Dashrath now goes back to Shanidev. He wants to hear. Let's chant one verse from the Stotra to Shani as he enters into the palace where he's going to see him. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Konstaha Pinglo Brabhuva Krishno Rudro Andako Yamahayo Sauri Shanishchado Mandahayatam Pipalande Samastu Yaha. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. When he goes back to Shani, now you want to fight Shani. Shani says, please, I warned you about the gaze of my eyes caused falling, caused trouble. How did that work? Fast forward, when Ravan did not want Shani to gaze upon his city, he ties Shani with his neck. He puts a rope here and he ties the neck to look upward. And while Shani was looking upward, Indra would constantly lose the battle. Shani couldn't look at the city of Lanka, so it became, as it were, immortal throughout the years. When Hanuman goes to burn the city, according to, I can't remember the name of the Ramayan, I think it's Kamba Ramayan, he frees Shani, jumps up with Saturn into the sky, in human form, jumps up to him in the sky and allows him to look at Lanka. And because of his eyes, because of his vision, whoever Shani looks at, figuratively, it brings death and destruction to their family. For this reason, when now Shani is warning Dashrath, he says, my eyesight, if I look upon you, it is going to cause trouble. Raja Dashrath doesn't believe in this. He says, I am the Chakravarti king. I am the incarnation of Dharma. And those people are suffering. And it is because of you, you want to warn me that you could suffer this. But then, because you can imagine, Shani is like this and he's closed his eyes because he doesn't want to look at Raja Dashrath to cause further. He says, listen to me, Dashrath. It is my eyesight. And you will find this discourse in different places when Ganesh Baba loses his head because of the view of Shani. When Girijapati, Lord Shiva and Mother Durga had Ganapati, and that son of Parvati was born in the Kailash Parbat, I was invited to come and view the child for the first time. But I hesitated because I know if I looked at the child, it would bring death and destruction. However, they pressed him and Shani did come. And after all the devatas one by one come in, as we all do, to see the popo, when Shani came to see the head of Ganesh in Kailashpati, the entire head disappeared. He says devatas had to search near and far. The Adi Shakti was out of control as she lamented for her child. Shiva himself says, who has damaged this child? This is different to the Katha where Lord Shiva throws the Trishul. This existed at a different time, a different kalp. Shani has decapitated his head. Lord Vishnu guides the demons, the devatas, to go and find a head. And when they went to the west, they found an elephant head, and they brought it back and connected it to the body of this Ganapati. In this way, my look, my gaze has caused trouble in different katha, in different stories, such as the Ramayan one where he's looking at the city of Lanka and it leaves the city to fall into disrepute and destruction. He says, for these 14 years my people have suffered and I will have to suffer for these 14 years. In different Ramayan, in Krittibasi Ramayan, in different places, it says the 14 years that are stipulated is these 14 years with the drought. And because he did not stand up and fight Shani and push Shani out of the way, it come like hardship and difficulty was now being cast on them because of, I had to say, his inaction. That shrap, the length of the time away from Ram had to be like that. He says, I am the son of Surya, and for this reason I do not wish to punish you for no reason. I do not wish to cause you harm or separation or difficulty. When at that time, at that moment, you see that stotra we just do for Shanidev, that is the time Dashrath started to pray and beg him, please, let 14 years be enough. And when Shanidev had listened to the prayer, he says, I would leave the consolation of Rohini at once and for all, and heavy rains will come to your country, not only your area, but the surrounding areas as well. As I move, there will be happiness. And after granting your boon, Dashrath was very happy and he left to go by Indra to tell Indra that what had played off and what is happening and what is going on about the movement, the planned movement of Shani, and let the rains come. Indra then deputed the rain clouds, the Aravata crowd, the Samvarta, the Drona, the Pushkara cloud to rain upon the city of Ayodhya for 1 week. And they did do so. All these rivers, streams, all the tanks were full, everything replenished. The earth became full of greenery, trees started to flowers, fruits were being bore by all the fruit trees. All creatures came back to life as food became plentiful. The king was well endowed with what? Wisdom. Wisdom. He goes to pray to Shani, he goes to talk to Indra, but because of his knowledge, he's able to put words and get them to do what is good for the John public. Raja Dashrath ruled like Indra for 9,000 years, but he did not have one son. He did not have one son. Prem Sabolo Pavana Putra Hanumana Ki Jai. So, it is here that he says, and I'm in, this is the Slok 33. One of the queens, Kaushalya, had a daughter named Himlata. She was the daughter, but this is saying one of the queen had her, and this queen was married off. This girl was, in this here it's saying it was married to the Shringi Rishi at the home of Lomapad Raja, or he has a palace in Angadesh, and they got married there. And the daughter Himlata remains with Shringi Rishi. In Valmiki Ramayan, she's married to Shringi Rishi again. And all we are told is after that wedding, well, we don't know what becomes of them. Prem se bolo Mahapati Mahadeva ki jai. When the person, consider all where we talk about this morning, tonight, sorry, all where we sing and all where we talk about, when the person is saying, Payo ji maine Ram Ratana Dana Payo, Prabhu, you are the granter of favor and grace. Bestow upon me wisdom, which is the true richness. The priceless gem that bestows, that you could bestow upon me. Satakinav Kevatiya Satguru Bhavasagar Tava Ayo Payo Ji Maine Ram Ratana Dana Payo. The vessel of truth is captained by you. The truth, the boat, imagine what's the analogy there, the vessel that is floating on the sea, but in this vessel, it is only made of the truth. You are the captain of the truth. You are the universal teacher who, out of compassion, takes me across the Bhausagar. This earth, from the day it born to the day it die, one day the sea calm, one day the sea rough, but you will ferry me like the boatman across this good and bad, rough, tears and happiness, rough, good, bad, this turbulent sea. You are the teacher. What are you teaching me? The wisdom. How do you teach me? By the example, by your teaching, by your text, by the interest. Maybe today you didn't feel like I could sit down and sing. Maybe you didn't feel that I could know the prayers for Shani, but you know what I hear? I hear a piece of katha that I never hear before. That's so interesting. It's so sweet. It's so nice. I never hear this. I want to know more. That. You see that taste. You see that little morsel. I want to know more. The teacher, Sri Ram is teaching. When you hear it, I want to hear more. That earnest, that urgency. There, he giving it. He giving you a tidbit. He is talking. These are his words. This is his text. This is his body. He is the universal teacher. Mira ke Prabhu giridhar nagar harasha jasa gayo payo ji maine Ram Ratana Dana payo. Mirabai, the devotee of the servant, or the servant of Sri Krishna Bhagwan. So look how old this song is comparative to the story of Sri Ram. This is an entire yoga after Krishna walked the earth. She fell in love with Krishna, but she looks at Ram as an incarnation of Krishna. So she sings for him, happily, happily. I sing this song for God. When you listen to this bhajan, don't only let it shoot straight over your head. I know I heard it, but I don't know what it means. Understand that this bhajan, this little song, it's very short, is talking about acquiring the wisdom. Wisdom cannot be stolen. It cannot be carried away. It grows within the person. And as you are growing, as the Sanatanis in you is growing with knowledge, and you start to use the knowledge, like that prayer to Shanidev, I'm introducing it through Dashrath as we are growing with Dashrath. Today we did the making of Dashrath. Tomorrow night you will hear more about Dashrath, about another part of Dashrath. And why did he have to go through some of the things? This morning, I keep saying this morning, tonight as we have heard the 14 years, why did he have to suffer for 14 years? Where does that come from? Why the 14 years? Because other people had suffered because of his negligence. Other people had suffered, and I'll read I'll find the slok for you. Other people had suffered under his time because he became engrossed in married life. I guess everybody goes through that phase, honeymoon phase, and he lost sight of his responsibilities. And when it comes back now he's neglected. When you listen to the part where he's on the couch in Tulsidas Ramayan, and he is remembering certain things, and he's swaying, and he's very despondent and sad and dejected. The question is why? If you are so blessed to have Lord Vishnu incarnate as your son, why suffer like this? Why go through all of this? And this is the reason I wanted to share this tidbit of information with you. Krittibasi Ramayan from the 15th century is stating that for 14 years these people were suffering, and they were suffering, and the thirst could not be quenched, just as he now in time, how you do it so you get, just as he wished he could see Ram, just Ram, and that thirst that he had could not be quenched. There was no let up, there was no release from that. Understand today where this 14 years came from. Understand that karma is being played. The hand of fate is turning. No matter your crown, no matter they call him Chakravarti, King of Kings, karma still has a hand for you, for me, and for this king as well. Prem Sabalo Mahapati Mahadeva ki Jai. Everybody, I want to pause in our discourse here tonight. I want to hold here. Tomorrow night, as I said, we'll continue. There are many pieces of information we have touched on, such as the lineage. Today we talked about, a little bit, we made mention of Dilip. We've talked about Raghu. We've talked about Aj. Aj got married to Indumati. We heard of their story. We heard of the story of how he gets married to the 3 girls. We heard of Shanta, his daughter. I mentioned Shringi Rishi, his son-in-law. I mentioned different Ramayana, different things are coming out and hitting you. And maybe we have to watch back this satsang so that some of the information is going to be absorbed. But I want to raise this at the very conclusion of our satsang tonight. When you feel you know, and I am in the same bracket, you're always learning more. In the search, when you follow Gyan Yoga, you are reading, you are searching, you are looking, and you want to question why. Like Narad Muni, why? Why did this happen? Why was it 14 years? Why did Dashrath have to go through this separation? Why was it so hard for him? What was the cause? Why does he love Ram so much? Listen to the question. Think about what I'm saying. Why is it that he has this affinity with Ram? This is a question. Tomorrow night we'll answer that. I hope that as we celebrate this global Deepavali that I mentioned at the beginning, Sri Ram is coming home. I hope I'm enticing you a little bit. I hope that just by listening you are engrossed into your Ramayana. For the young one, for the one who has known about Ramayana, let it be that this temple, the establishment of the Hindu pride of Ayodhya, that it serves as a renaissance, as it were, in your life, a re-emergence of these things, so that it is used. It's not, I don't expect you, I can't do it. I cannot memorize all these texts and all these different things. I depend on our books. I don't need you to memorize. What I need you to do is internalize that bhakti, that devotion. When you sit to do your sadhana and you're lighting your diya and you're talking to God, you're jumping in your car, you're going, Jai Shri Ram, Sita Ram, everybody. When you're sitting in your prayer room, Sita Ram Kaho, Radhe Shama Kaho. Just as today we did this Payoji Maine and we did Ram Similosia, Ram, different bhajan, little chants, you will see them when you come in the ashram here on a Sunday morning and we have our music class and you see them singing these little chants, the message behind the chant, so that the person could put themselves in it. We don't want a CD. We don't want a track from Spotify where you're just hearing the song, but there's no emotion. The beauty of the person performing the song is when they put relevance, when they put the emotion, when they could help you feel the bhajan. And when you understand it and you use it in your devotion, in your spirituality and your spiritual practice, it is a tool, that's all. This is a tool. Satsang is a tool to get you to your God. Did you hear? In the boat, he is the captain and he's taking you from birth to death and thereafter. He is the person. So we are using different tools to get you where you need to be in the way. Dear God, don't let me suffer. For the person who is sickly and watching me as I'm wrapping up, do you need to suffer? No. Do you need to go through the hardships in your family? Do you need to be suffering, children and parents? Do we need to have hardships in our marriage? No. There is still God, and God works. Tonight, as you are learning about your God, use this knowledge and let's practice some wisdom and apply. Apply. Pandit, send me a message. Pandit, could I have a copy of that stotra for Shanidev? Could I have, words and meanings? Could I have a copy? If you send me a message, I'll WhatsApp it to you. I'll send it in an email. But you have to do your part. I could only bring it, but I can't force. The old saying here, carry the horse to the water. I can't force them to drink it. What would it take for you to send me a message? Pandit, I would like a copy of that praise. Pandit, I want to know more. Pandit, this was so nice. And we work together. I would like to hear questions from you. If I'm teacher, you're the student, and I want to hear feedback. I would like you to send me a message. Send something for Sankhya. Tell them, and never hear that. Where that come from? What's the name of that Ramayana? What is that Pandit talking about? Question and learn in your questioning and send your comments. Get me on WhatsApp. You have my phone number. It's on the screen. Send me on WhatsApp and I'm glad to share the information with you all. For those that continue to subscribe to the YouTube, join the YouTube. It's the lovely thing about this type of satsang? When you have to get up to answer the door, pause. And when you come back, continue Baba and you're not missing anything. So there is a positive. So we capitalize, we look for the good in a scenario. We look for the good, and you take the good, and you grow. The real measurement here is not how good we sing, or how good the music look, or how nice the kurta is, or how good the flowers is. Or those things don't help you. When you take the good from the satsang, and you grow as a devotee of God, and your sadhana, your prayer, your understanding of God, your communication with God, your love for God grows, then you're telling me, I'm getting ready, one day I have to go back. Then you know what? The accident, the pain, the stroke, the suffering, maybe I don't have to go through that, dear God, because now I know you. I hope that you have enjoyed this satsang, and I hope that you have learned. Tonight, as we conclude, I pray, and if my words have any value, I bless you, that take these type of satsangs, take this knowledge, and involve it in your life, and teach somebody, guide somebody, give them something. Put your hands together as we get ready to close. We chant a couple of verses for our Ramayana Vidhai, the Visarjan part. Katha Visarjan hotu hai, सुनो वीर हनुमान, जो जन जासे आया है, ते तह करो पयान. जय जय राजा राम की, जय लक्ष्मण बलवान, जय कपीस सुग्रीव की, जय अंगर जय हनुमान, जय जय काकभुषुंड की, जय गिरि उमा महेश, जय ऋषि भरद्वाज की, जय तुलसी अवधेश. कथा विसर्जन होत है, सुनो वीर हनुमान, जो जन जासे जा आया है, ते तह करो पयान. श्रोता सब आश्राम गए, शंभु गए कैलाश, रामायण मम हृदय महा, सदा करहु तुम अभ्यास. कथा विसर्जन हो तो है, सुनो वीर हनुमान, जो जन जासे आया है, ते तह करो पयान. प्रेम से बोलो उमापति महादेव की जय, सियाभर रामचंद्र की जय. As we do our final mantra, put your hands together. Dear Lord, we thank you genuinely, humbly, sincerely for the time spent together listening to your holy discourse and glory. If you've learned a tidbit, this is the time to say thank you for teaching me this. Thank you for allowing me to listen. We practice Shravanam, we practice Darshanam. And by your grace and your permission, Prabhu, you allowed me to do it. I thank you sincerely for that. Please accept my prayer humbly. Please forgive me if I am ignorant, if I made a mistake, if my mind swayed, forgive me. But I really need your help, Prabhu. I really need your help because of, and talk about what is going on at home. Together, having said our prayers, let's conclude. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva tvameva bandhu cha saka tvameva tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om. Prem Sablomapati Mahadeva ki jai, Pauna Putra Hanuman ki jai, Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki jai, Syabhar Ramachandra ki jai, Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai, Satya Sanatan Dharma ki jai, jai jai, Sitaram. Sitaram everybody. Today, as we conclude, I remind you all that soon we'll be having our clothes drive. We've been collecting clothes. If you still have clothes, it's not late yet. If you'd like to make a contribution, rather than throw things away, things that could be reused, so of course it has to be in good condition, no underwear, no private clothes. But whether your normal t-shirts, pants, and so on, or your Indian wear, we would gladly re-gift them on your behalf for other people. For safety reasons, it is obvious that we could come together in the manner as we have been doing for some time. People come together, and people who need, because of the times, they are really benefiting. So I encourage you to do your part. This is a very free and very easy way to help other people. We continue with our hamper drives. We continue with our different yagya. On a Sunday morning in the ashram, we have music class. We have lessons being taught. We have different things, parasad class, different things happening cooking-wise. Please get involved. And as we send out the information, I encourage you all to join with me. If you have your questions, please send them. Forward me your messages. Take my number, add me on WhatsApp, and send me a message. And I look forward to engaging with each and every one of you. May God continue to bless each and every one and your family. God bless you, and we'll see each other tomorrow night as we continue in our katha. God bless you. Sitaram, everybody. Good night. Bye-bye.